You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Go for it, Jim. Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks. I am your host, Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host is my good friend, Jim Tucker.
What's going on, Kyle?
You know, we just watched some NXT live on the USA Network for the very first time.
Both of us together, we enjoyed it. It was nice.
I was very surprised. You were a little earlier than I expected.
Yeah, my wife says that too.
That's what she said. Yeah, I was just sitting on the couch. I heard my thing ring, and I was like...
You heard your thing ring?
Yeah, it was my buzzer, and I was like, is this Amazon? And no, it was Tucky, and then me and you got to watch
They
some
do
NXT.
buzz that when they drop off a package or something?
Yeah, sometimes.
That's all.
One time, somebody rang it at 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Good.
I was sleeping.
Good.
I was woken up.
You were woke.
Yeah, I guess you could say. And the weird thing that you bring up woke is, I think what it was a Matt Hardy action figure.
Ah, there we go.
That's funny how that worked out there. But hey, how you been, Tuck?
Life is good. A lot of wrestling. A lot of ish wrestling lately. So.
Didn't you watch Clash of Champions with the wife on Sunday?
Yeah, I watched all of Clash of Champions and Raw, SmackDown, and the first hour of NXT. I am current.
That's good, because usually when we get to this point, you haven't watched NXT.
Right.
And I don't,
right.
Yeah, so now we're totally caught up. But we'll touch on every single one of those Clash of Champions, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. But before we do that, we got to say that we are proudly a part of the Overtime Sports Network on the interwebs at otsportsnetwork.com. And if you want to follow them on Twitter, Tuck, where would you follow them, and what would you see on that Twitter?
You're going to find the at button, the at symbol, @_OTSN. And when you go to the OTSN Twitter page, you're going to find a number of blogs and podcasts covering all corners of the sports world. The blogosphere is starting to heat up a little bit.
A little bit.
We're, making some waves. We're getting into that fall territory. And again, we're always looking for content creators as well. Any kind, graphics, videos, blogs, podcasts. If you're looking to create and help, we've got room on the bus. Not much room.
Yeah, not much room, especially if you're a podcast out there. I think we're full on the podcast front, but YouTube creators, bloggers, that's kind of what we're looking for right now. And speaking of bloggers and YouTube creators, the guy that won our giveaway here, we were doing the hashtag Kyle's giveaway on Twitter.
Hashtag not rigged, by the way.
Yeah, it was not. I can even show you the screen recording of it if you don't believe us, the three people that did it. But all you have to do is tweet at us, @PotOnTheMark, and hashtag Kyle's giveaway. Our winner, the one and only, the host of Mikey and the Degenerates on the Overtime Sports Network, Mikey Wilson.
This is the first time Mikey's probably won anything.
Shots fired for sure.
Kind of a tough start for a guy running a gambling podcast, but I'll tell you, the first time I went on, he does a game with his guests,
Yes.
and I was perfect.
Were you? Oh, yeah,
And the
that's right. I
guests
think I did listen to that episode.
In the ensuing episodes, the guests piddled it away, but...
Yeah, there went that lead that you established for them. But yeah, I gave Mikey crap. I was like, you know what? For a gambling podcast, you guys really aren't that good at this.
Yeah, so there's that.
He was very adamant that the Vikings were going to be the Packers, and we all know that did not happen this past Sunday. There's your weekly Packers plug of the week.
Aaron Rodgers confirmed good at football.
Yeah, I definitely confirm, and also their defense is very good. And if you want to hear about football talk, I host a podcast called The Family Divided, and that's exactly what we do. So
yes, yeah.
Shout out to
and
that.
you do it well. You
thank you.
don't give yourself enough credit, but you don't do 102 episodes, 101 episodes of Family Divided for nothing.
The reason he's saying Family Divided is we look over to the side on my chalkboard. Tyler misspelled Family Divided and put Family Divided. So
Come on, T-Walk, you're better than that.
that's what happens when you have 102 episodes with somebody. But maybe one day we'll be at the 102 mark. How about that?
About 95 episodes from now. So catch us at
How long do you think
August
it'll
of two. No, I mean
we're going
we're killing
good.
it. Yeah,
That's
August
we've
of
been weekly,
20,
right?
Yeah, 2021.
And 2 in 1 week we had.
Yep.
So I'll
And
tell you what.
that's going to happen when we run into some of those. There's so much content
Oh, yeah.
And especially when you get out of baseball season from October to March.
What are you going to do?
We're going to hang out a lot more.
We're going to hang out. We're going to watch wrestling. We're going to go to wrestling. And we're going to talk right now about Clash of Champions that
Let's
happened
get
this
to
Sunday.
it. I wish I was more excited to talk
about this.
Yeah.
I was excited going into the pay-per-view because, I had my brother come stay the night. That was nice to watch the pay-per-view with him and whatnot. But you know what, Tuck? I have to say, slightly disappointed with Sunday's show.
Not a complete waste of time.
No.
But it could have been better. I don't know how else to put it.
And it was a weird start. I'm not even going to talk about the cruiserweights. Drew Gulak retained.
Congrats, Drew.
Good job, Drew. We're proud of you. Mm-hmm. Another match that was on the pre-show. The phenomenal AJ Styles. Can you believe that in 2019, I'm saying AJ Styles is on the pre-show for the WWE?
Yeah, Cedric Alexander's music hit, and I just, what?
In the match, I think, was probably a total of 7 minutes, if that.
And Cedric just got bounced.
I wouldn't say it was a squash match, but it was a very strong showcase for AJ Styles.
Yep.
Maybe that's what they were trying to accomplish here. AJ gets the win and retains his U.S. championship against Cedric Alexander. Really did nothing for me, but I feel like that's kind of a mistreatment of AJ Styles. This is, my opinion, the best wrestler on the planet. Cedric Alexander is no slouch either, but giving him a 7-minute match in the pre-show Clash of Champions, come on
now. Yep, that's about all I could say, too.
And you had that in the Cruiserweight on the pre-show matches. That's what I'm going to say there. It was really hard for me to put that into a sentence, but we'll move on to that main card itself.
And here we are.
We got new Raw and SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. First, let's talk about the Raw ones. Ziggler and Rude. Like we expected, our guys ended up defeating Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins in an okay match.
It was okay. I thought there was enough of the match to kind of, validate their win. And they have matching trunks, so I'm happy.
I was going to say.
All is good.
They have that.
And when they came out for the Summit, right?
Or lack thereof, the Summit, yeah.
The Summit-ish thing, they both came out to one entrance, and it was Dolph's music, but...
Then they eventually transitioned into Robert Roode's.
Is it one of those dumb mashups?
Yeah, and that's basically what they did with Fire and Desire, too, which we will talk about in a little bit. But yeah, it made total sense here to go with Ziggler and Rude as eventually Strowman and Rollins would have their Universal title match. So a very quick title reign for Rollins and Strowman. But on the other side of things, this one personally surprised me. But a lot of people were choosing the Revival to win, and that's exactly what they did here against the New Day. And this match, I think, out of both these two tag team matches was the better wrestling match.
I agree. I think the conversation we had was that maybe the New Day will take them because there hasn't been much of a push either way for that match. But the Revival took it, and if I had to pick one of the matches based on wrestling, I would take the New Day versus the Revival as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Revival became the very first tag team to win the NXT championships, the Raw championships, and the SmackDown Live championships. So you really can't take them away from the history books, even if they plan on leaving the company.
Triple Crown champions.
Yeah, it's very impressive. So obviously they finally see something with the Revival, and now that they kind of are with Randy Orton, we're still not sold if that's going to continue or not, but it did on SmackDown, which we will.
They haven't made a shirt yet, so.
And it probably was going to say what?
FT RKO, probably.
Fuck the RKO. Isn't that what that stands for?
Forever, though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it is. I just wanted to pull a T-Walk and get a curse word out there because, we are an explicit classic,
Yes.
Let's move on here. The SmackDown Women's Championship matchup. Bayley, still with the same music, still with the Bayley buddies, still kind of interacting with the crowd.
I don't like it.
She's supposed to be a bad bitch. Going up against Charlotte.
Yeah. Sweet. Waste of time. Did sneakily pull off the turnbuckle. Didn't notice that she pulled it off at first. But cheap shot win. That was their heel push. And the heat is small here. It is a match.
It's like when you're trying to start that fire in the backyard, but nothing just seems to catch.
Yeah,
you
and
start using the newspaper.
You're taking the right steps. You're trying to take the right steps to get the fire ignited, but it's just not going. Is it the wind? I don't know. Is it your
Wet wood?
incinerator? Yeah, and nobody likes wet wood.
No, some people might, but I don't. That's for sure.
It's not gonna light a fire. Wet wood does not light a fire. Confirmed.
And this match wasn't that long either. And I really can't even think of something significant that happened other than the turnbuckle spot that you brought up.
That's it. And we are 4 matches in, and we are. This is a blistering pace.
And you know what it felt like? It just felt like a normal Raw.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was getting, and an average Raw at that. So,
yep.
If it feels like an average Raw, what does that mean on the pay-per-view?
On a pay-per-view called Clash of Champions.
And
yes.
and it felt like this was just a way to move on with the feud. And I get it. Sometimes you have to have a quirky finish or a weird way to end a match just to prolong something, but
TV's a great spot for that.
Yes,
TV's an awesome spot for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. So, yeah, this feud maybe is going to continue. Who really knows here? But we got Hell in a Cell in a couple weeks, so we'll see if that match ends up being a thing. But let's move on to the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross retain their titles against Fire and Desire, who had that mashup theme song that we hate.
Okay. We both agreed that I think Bliss and Cross were going to win, and they did. Solid match. I was fine with it.
Is Bliss and Cross growing on you at all? Do you think this is actually working?
No, because I still have the snarky, Alexa's going to turn at some point.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the friendship, in that relationship quite yet, and I feel bad for Nikki because I like her. She's a spitfire. You know? She's a pistol when she gets in. A lot of energy. She's entertaining to watch. I hope she doesn't end up playing second fiddle to Alexa too long, but I also don't know where she fits in a bigger title picture at this point with
right now, nowhere. Yeah, there's no spot for her in the major title pictures.
Right.
So I guess we'll see what happens there. I don't really know who could be the next contenders for Bliss and Cross off the top of my head. The Kabuki Warriors?
Nia Jax and Tamina?
No, I think Nia Jax tore her ACL.
She's still hurt. Tamina's on her way back, though.
Oh, I can't wait for Tamina and Nia Jax to be back. There goes the whole women's tag division.
Got a Matt relic of a Tamina card one time.
What does that mean for the non-card collector?
So as I collect cards, I bought a box of WWE Women's Division. You were guaranteed a hit in the box, and a hit is a good card, a significant card,
yes.
An autograph or a relic. The relic was a SummerSlam mat relic, so a piece of the canvas mat from SummerSlam, and it was paired with a picture of Tamina.
Oh, I mean, if you think of the women's division itself, and I go up and down the list, Tamina's probably at the bottom of it.
Yeah, alphabetically and interest-wise, all of it.
Sounds like your pools on Overtime Sports cards on the Overtime Sports Network. Cheap plug alert. How you doing?
Hey.
That's how we roll here. But we had another match for the championship. I mean, it is Clash of Champions here, Tuck. We had Nakamura, and he retained his title against The Miz. And once again, not much to note from this one. It seemed like the chemistry was off between the two, and I think it has to do with their styles. You got Shinsuke Nakamura with the strong style, the Japanese strong style, and The Miz is kind of just one of those safe textbook guys. And nothing seemed to come together there, and you had Sami Zayn hooting and hollering. It seemed a little chaotic for me. I'm
glad they cut his mic, and I don't know if that was planned or not.
I don't think it was.
His reaction actually seemed genuine, and I like Sami Zayn as a mouth.
Yeah,
he does that well. He's a talker. I'm glad they cut it. The match was fine.
That's probably a Vince thing. He's probably like, all right,
cut
this
it.
is not working. Cut the mic. Cut the music. You know, that's definitely something Vince would do. But yeah, once again, we're here. It's Clash of Champions. It's a pay-per-view. Just another match. And you really, once again, I can't recall anything significant that happened in that match.
Didn't feel anything to note. The boat is floating. It's not sinking at this point, but it's not making significant progress in my mind. The show is just happening, but thankfully...
The next match, you want to introduce that one?
Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. And what we have on our notes, tore the house down.
Literally, they were all over the place.
Yeah, I would say things got saucy a little bit.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I mean, the chairs were getting involved. The ref was taking bumps.
Must have died.
That's very true.
The guy must have died. Becky Lynch, 100 out of 100 on chair shots, apparently on her the back of her baseball card, because that guy was out of it. He couldn't even explain to the timekeeper that she was disqualified.
Yeah, she must have a lot of strength there with her chair shots. But I mean, until the whole outside interference and they went throughout the whole arena, it still was a very good match back and forth. And if you've seen Sasha and Becky do their thing in NXT before, these two women have had outstanding matches many of times, and they did it once again here. And they found a way to prolong this storyline even more. I brought this up, and I think you actually agree with me on our Clash of Champions preview. Sasha was going to win, but there was going to be some sort of DQ where she didn't win the belt.
Right. You were very straightforward in that Becky keeps the title.
Yes.
I said Becky won the title.
Okay.
And
you kind of
as you brought it up, I was like, you know what, you little stinker.
I've been watching a little longer than you, Tuck, so I
Yes.
got a little bit more experience. Even though people that are listening some of them have probably watched more than us combined, and that's pretty crazy to think about it. So shout out to you. Let us know.
And we love your input on the Twitter, on the tweet skis.
I was just going to say
Hit
that.
us
Make
up.
sure you tweet at us. I want to know how long you have been watching the WWE at Pot on the Mark. Send us a tweet.
And I'm always looking for wrestling matches to watch, old school matches. And the one that I got to over the
I was
weekend,
going to say, did we get to one here?
I saw the Shield's debut.
Okay. Thoughts?
Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Chaos.
That's a great word for it.
All over the place. Young boys. Dean Ambrose looking like a thumb. Just
they all
a
had
baby.
like the baby face.
Yes.
Even Roman with less tattoos and muscular.
Mista watched it with me. She's like, "Who? What?" And it was a good match, high intensity. I didn't watch it to take notes on it, but another match, thumbs up. So looking forward to another one. Or was
One
that
of
the
our
one that
listeners.
Aaron Oros gave me one, a Royal Rumble.
2015 Royal Rumble WWE Championship match, John Cena, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar.
Book it.
Very, very good match. I remember it. There was a lot of table spots and just, high-flying stuff. It was a very good match. So, yeah, we're going to have to find out on episode 6 what you thought of that one. So,
yes.
Shout out to you, Aaron, for giving Tuck another match to watch.
Tucky! There we go.
There it is. So let's move on here, Tucky, to Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. Now, this is a match that me and you both were very adamant on that we thought Randy Orton was going to win.
Blinking guy meme at the end of this one for both of us. We thought there was no way in HE double hockey sticks Randy Orton was going to walk out of that building without the strap, but he did.
He did. And like we stated in the last episode, when people get built up strong to end a go-home show, like Kofi did at MSG on SmackDown, that usually means the other person's going to win. That wasn't the case here. Randy Orton lost this match. Now, granted, the match as a whole, it wasn't great, it wasn't spectacular, but when you watch Randy Orton matches, it's usually nothing phenomenal, but it's very textbook. And I think it did a very good job at making Kofi Kingston look strong again.
Yeah, and it's not the match that you're going to write home about, not really going to contend for one of those strong matches of the night. You got to go back and watch it. But Randy Orton fought the methodical style at that pace. And he's one that imposes his style on who he wrestles.
Absolutely.
And Kingston is a good wild card to maintain styles against. I think he's just a little bit more
versatile, yeah.
So he fit in and he got the win. So that, to WWE's credit, surprised both of us, along with probably many others.
And we're not mad about it. I don't think you're not mad about this now.
Nope. We'll now, especially after the announcement, we'll see. Well, I'm now invigorated again because we were thinking, what's Kofi going to do?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what drove us for the Randy Orton decision. Was I think we're kind of out of steam, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, and like I said, didn't hate the decision. We both like Kofi, and I got to give credit. They have done a very good job. He's been one of the best booked WWE champions in the past decade, and that's saying something for the modern wrestling style, because it's hard to keep people consistent and people emotionally invested into someone for that long of a period.
Yep, I agree.
Props to WWE on that. But We're going to move on here to the only non-title match on the card, Eric Rowan against Roman Reigns. This was a no DQ match. Your standard no DQ match. You know, you had the barricade spots, the stairs were involved, all those shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
But Eric Rowan gets the win here, and he got a little help from a friend.
You called it.
I did.
You did call it. And I watched it, and I said, you son of a gun, that stinking guy.
Luke Harper is back.
The pants.
I saw your comments on Twitter about his pants.
Interesting.
You're not feeling the pants. Big attire guy.
No, that's what I'm about. You know, and then Rowan's killing it with the leather vest, but then he's got a Cannibal Corpse tee underneath.
Yeah, but
that's fine.
What did you think of the match itself? I mean,
I thought Rowan showed very well.
Yeah.
I thought he showed stronger for a longer, drawn out match. I thought he showed out better. They got the jib spot again.
Yeah.
We'll take that. I hate Roman Reigns running flat footed with the momentum with the Superman punch.
Yeah,
I don't
gotcha.
just like there's no momentum. I like him off a high spot.
Leaping.
Yes, I like that. But I thought it was a good match. The camera work was good to not show us Harper until the boot was introduced.
Very true.
I was good with that. A lot of push to bring back a guy like Luke Harper, in my opinion, right now. So hopefully they book the two of them strong together, however they go.
And when I watched when the Wyatt family was doing their thing and Rowan and Harper were a part of it, I always thought Luke Harper would kind of be the guy that becomes the star. Not Braun Strowman, not Eric Rowan, but he seems to be taking a backseat once again to Eric Rowan. They keep building him up. They did a good job at doing this by beating Roman Reigns. It's just, where do you go from here? And we'll touch on that when we get to our SmackDown talk. But once again, wasn't super high on it, but it wasn't a bad match. I mean, no DQ matches. It's hard to really fuck up on that.
Definitely trending upward after those first handful of matches. Again, nothing to write home about, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and then the final match we had here was for the Universal title. Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman. They were tag team champions earlier in the night, and now their opponents going for the Universal title. Pretty solid match. I can actually say I enjoyed this match. And whenever Braun Strowman gets into a ring, he's got one of the best comebacks in wrestling. When he's down and out and he starts to make his comeback, or he has a hot tag in a tag match, the guy's electric. So I think Braun Strowman needs to get a lot of credit for this performance in this match, but obviously it wasn't enough. Rollins retains.
I would like to start a campaign for the Braun Strowman No More High Spots.
You didn't like him
No,
going to
it
the
just
top?
makes me nervous, dude. I actually thought he was hurt.
Yeah.
When he landed, I didn't think he was selling the knee. I thought he was injured. That's a big boy.
A lot of people complain, too, they don't like when big guys do high spots and it doesn't end the match. Because they're saying, like, if Strowman's going to do that, he's what, 350?
Come on. Yeah.
Probably going to squash Rollins.
The force, right? Whatever. There's a physics equation you could put behind it per square inch or something, but that's a big dude. And that's all I got.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Kicked out of 3 stomps.
That's what I was going to say.
I think Lesnar took 1 stomp, didn't he? Was it 1 or 2?
A couple. I think it was 2.
Man.
Lesnar took 2. But yeah, Strowman, they made him look strong in defeat, which is what I think they were trying to do. But once again, for I think the 4th time in the last calendar year, Braun Strowman loses a major title match.
People are getting these hands, but he's not getting that title.
That's true.
Yep.
I mean, the only title he's gotten so far is the Raw Tag Team Championships twice.
Would he fold into the 24/7 title picture?
Oh, I hope not. Don't say that. Oh, God.
That was a joke.
I know.
Vince, if you're listening, please don't.
No, you know he's thinking about, oh, pal, just think of Braun Strowman running in and holding that title forever.
He's got abs now. Let's get the title on him.
He's going to get these hands, and he's going to get the 24/7 championship. But that's not how they ended the show, Tuck.
They tried to make you think that.
They did.
They
because
put
they
the
put
logo.
The thing,
and you're like, okay, bye. Psych.
Yeah, psych. The Fiend shows up, attacks Seth Rollins. Very good camera work. Very good selling by Rollins to the mandible claw. I think that was probably the highlight of this entire pay-per-view.
The Fiend, the second time, so he's holding after he did the Sister Abigail to Seth Rollins, the lights cut out, and then it came back on, and Seth Rollins is literally looking like Jesus being held by the Fiend. He's got the beard. He's got the long hair.
He's CrossFit Jesus.
And he was crucified there.
Right on the cross.
He was right there holding the way that he was holding. I want a picture of that.
It's probably out there.
It was a great shot. Hit him with the claw. And then we go to
Lights
Raw.
out.
Yeah.
That's how that show ended, which, like I said, probably the highlight for me. If you were to give it a grade, what would you give this show? Overall thoughts?
I'm at like a C-. C-, fair.
So 7?
I'm not 6.5 to 7. I'm not over the moon about it. There were things that I liked, but not enough to make me want to go back and watch really anything other than the Becky and Sasha scrum. I thought that was a lot of fun, and because they both had time, they both had their shots outside of the ring. But other than that, it was kind of chalk, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I basically was going to say. It's one of those shows where you're probably going to forget about this. Like Clash of Champions 2019, it happened, and I really think it was used to just prolong storylines and keep things moving as we move on to, Hell in a Cell and then Survivor Series.
I
You
think
got to start building.
There's a big amount. There's a fair amount of urgency for Hell in a Cell. I'm looking forward to that show,
which is kind of rare. I feel like they usually don't put a lot of time and effort into Hell in a Cell.
Last year, I was looking forward to it, newly back into wrestling, and that was my first Hell in a Cell to see live again, and it kind of underwhelmed. But this year, I think there's a lot of pageantry going into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And will they bring back the red cell? You remember the red cell from last
year?
Yeah. People made a big deal about that too.
Not the easiest to see through, but that's fine.
Yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter for the wrestlers, and that's pretty sure that's all they care about here.
Yep.
But we're going to move on to this week's Monday Night Raw. It happened September 16, 2019, and we kicked off the show with the Universal Champion, and he was interrupted once again by Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse.
It was a good segment. I liked the back and forth. If it was pre-recorded, Seth did a good job to hit that spot.
Timing, yeah.
It was good. I like Bray ended it. See you in hell. Like, I love those.
See you in hell.
Yeah, he's just, hey, like, I'm your friend, but this is definitely where. And then he makes the comment, I'll see you later tonight. Yeah. They did a good job. That was my takeaway from the whole show, because there's other parts where I wanted to throw up.
Yeah, and I'm going to put this out there. Whenever we do these Raw and SmackDown recaps, I guess you'll call it, I'm not always going to put every single thing that happened on the show because, we got times to hit here, and some things just don't deserve to be talked about,
right.
Like Lacey Evans and Natalya, which I didn't hate, but I always am kind of fond of Lacey Evans.
She ain't bad.
But
the handkerchief spots, I think they've run their course. I think what else are you going to do?
She had a nice, I would say, leaping kick over the rope and then booted Dana. Well, I think it was Dana Brooke she faced. Yeah, Dana Brooke, not Natalya.
I'm at a spot where we are actually impressed with Lacey Evans wrestling, or it's just her performing above the level that we have for her. And right now, I think she actually is getting better.
I do too, and
So
it's going to seem biased coming from me because everybody knows I'm a big Lacey Evans mark, and I have been since NXT. But yeah, she gets a bad rap. But I guess we did talk about her. So shout out to you, Lacey Evans WWE on Twitter. I think that's your handle. Yeah, you nasty.
Kyle's a nasty.
Yeah, that's 100% confirmed a nasty. Let's move on here to the OC. They faced the Viking Raiders and Cedric Alexander. OC gets the win here. They needed it, probably more than the other team did. And we had another post-match beatdown of Cedric Alexander. Is he getting buried?
If they're giving him the Kenny Omega, tough journey treatment, Kenny Omega would have to be 1-9 at this spot, right, where Cedric Alexander's at, which makes me concerned because they've had spots to make him look good. And the last 4 appearances, it's just
downhill.
There's a lot he's going to have to do to get back to where he was, I think.
Yeah, and this match itself wasn't that bad, and they showcased the Viking Raiders well, and they're not the ones eating the pinfall here, which is smart because you want to keep them looking strong because they're probably close to being next in line for the Raw Tag Team Championships. But going back to Cedric Alexander again, the last big win I can recall out of him was against Drew McIntyre, and we haven't seen that guy in like a month or two.
I missed the chest hair.
Yeah, have we even heard anything like what the reasoning is behind his absence? Have you saw anything? Read any rumors?
Elias was hurt with the ankle.
Yeah,
nope.
Elias is hurt.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know.
See you, Drew.
Maybe Daily Smart can let us know. There's always articles and stuff on
there. What is the Daily Smart?
That's a beautiful website that has our podcast features on it.
Oh, we're one podcast of many featured on the directory.
Yes, you just got to search for us on the mark. Starts with an O if you didn't know.
Yeah, and if
That
you
rhymes.
have, I think if you have an Apple phone or an Android, you can find the app.
Yeah, the app's on my
application.
phone. Is it on your phone?
It is.
Oh, there
It's
you
not
go.
even locked into a folder yet. I haven't even sorted it.
I don't have mine in a
It's
folder
on front
either.
page,
So,
yeah.
smack dab in the middle for @TheDailySmark on Twitter. Make sure you check them out. Let's go to the King of the Ring finals. I know this is going to get one of our listeners very aroused. It is Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable. I was pulling for Gable in this one, but ladies and gentlemen, we got King Corbin.
Not a bad match. And
You liked it.
I was okay with it. Corbin against the small guy, and Gable had pops. The crowd was really behind him, and I was pulling for him, but he pulled off an end of days at the end there that was crisp. It was a good one. I think Corbin's getting better at wrestling.
Do you think this is the right decision,
Yeah,
booking-wise, him being the king?
Yeah, I think so. Because on SmackDown with the coronation, it showed a little differently between Gable and Corbin. But I was okay with the match. I thought it was actually a good match. And I've read that Corbin spent a lot of the summer on house shows working with Rollins. A lot.
That's going to help.
Yep.
When you're getting in the ring with the best in the world, you're only going to get better. You're not going to get worse. That's
Right.
for sure. And I can't discredit him. He is getting a little better, but I'm still not buying into the character. And I think he's really a guy that's just flashy with the signature and the finisher
I don't know where to find those tank tops either.
that he's always wearing.
I'm not looking for them.
Yeah, I don't think me and you could really pull that off or want to pull that off.
Hey, you're down 15 pounds. Give yourself some credit, babe.
We don't want to let the people know that. Then they'll be all over me like the girls on Bumble right now.
I know it.
Not a free ad read for Bumble, but if you do want to sponsor us, Bumble, just hit us up. But yeah, I didn't hate the match. It started off slow, and like you said, the finish was good. There was a moment there when Gable had the ankle lock in. I actually thought, oh, Baron Corbin's going to tap here.
God, the
Gable
crowd
got-
was so hot when he had it locked in.
What did I tell you last week? This finisher that he's using, the ankle lock, is going to work.
It is.
And because people look at him, Kurt Angle, spitting image. I don't know how many times I got to say it. Gable's a good guy. I like him. He's underrated, but he's not the king. It is King Corbin now in the WWE. So I guess we'll find out where that goes because it looks like that feud is not ending. We'll get to that in just a bit. But
Correct.
we had a gender reveal on Monday Night Raw. I bet you didn't expect me to hear that. Gender reveal for Maria Kanellis, and we found out that Ricochet is the father.
You thought.
Oh, bitch, you thought.
You thought.
Who actually is the father now? It's not Mike Kanellis,
Apparently it's Rusev
who is married to Lana.
and has a mustache.
He did look very nice. I did like the look.
Bro, he's been spending some time in the White House. He looked good.
He did look good, and he looked a lot thinner and toned. And
Yeah, you could see the ablacature of the.
Is that a word?
No, it's not. He doesn't have nearly as many morsels in the abdomen as Velveteen Dream does. We talked about that earlier,
Good comment
but
on that, yeah.
he did look good, and I like the stash. A little bit of mystery behind that facial hair there.
Do you like that? I'd never even asked you. Do you like Rusev? Like, did you like his work?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I liked him. The choosing to bring him back as part of the actual husband or the actual daddy of someone else's baby that isn't the daddy, used his motivation during a gender reveal that wasn't that good on a Raw. No.
I just had a meme going on in my head where that guy adds up on his fingers and he's got the math equations going on, trying to follow what you just said.
It was right, though.
It was right, and you absolutely nailed it there. But out of all the places to bring back Rusev, you bring him back here during the gender reveal. Very interesting.
Lana, thoughts? Where are you at, miss?
Maybe they're setting something up between Lana and the Kanellis family.
Casey Catanzaro put her thoughts on Twitter.
Ooh, she was not happy.
Girl, you better back up.
And we don't even know if Casey's still employed because nobody can clarify that.
I know it.
Watch, she's probably on the second hour of NXT while we're recording this.
And there's levels to like your role in WWE. You are the guy that wears the shirt for the next pay-per-view on camera. You're the guy that is part of the No Way Jose train. You're the guy that's always in the background for the Connor's Cure stuff. And then there's this unique level of superstar that is in the background of a gender reveal on Raw and Ricochet.
That's Rusev.
And Rusev. Right.
Yeah.
Like find the two that don't fit. Like you had the Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder.
They just wanted to,
Titus.
get them TV time, I guess, which is
I don't care.
Yeah, nobody seems to be invested in that. I get the whole, like, sometimes on Raw you got to be funny and weird. And I mean, fucking Mae Young gave birth to a hand back in the day for Mark Henry, like, and people love that, but certain things don't work, and it seems like the whole gender reveal, Maria Kanellis baby, 24/7 champion, just not working.
If you leave the spot at like it's a boy, and everyone's like, okay, sure, but then she points out Ricochet as the father, who I will stand behind vehemently as a good person.
You hear that, Casey?
I'm Team Ricochet.
We're both Team Ricochet. We got your back, man. You didn't do it. It might have been Rusev, but it was probably Mike. So that's where we're going to leave that segment.
The Beta Cuck reference by Graves.
Ooh, very, very subtle. Very funny.
I know Vince heard it. I heard he wasn't there on
He
Monday.
ain't going to do anything to Corey Graves. He's probably the best thing they get on the mic right now for Raw and SmackDown, in my opinion. He's got some funny comments that he makes here and there. But we have a new 24/7 champion for about half the show. And I think his name's Glenn Jacobs.
I thought it was Larry Bird. Like with R-Truth. R-Truth said Larry Bird. I thought that was a good point.
I thought it was Larry Bird. He's about Larry Bird's height.
Yeah, but good pull in for Glenn Jacobs. Kane.
The mayor.
Yeah.
As some people may know him.
Carmella had a tough time keeping a straight face.
I mean, come on.
I would too.
If you're working with R-Truth, and Kane showed signs of being funny when he was working with Team Hell No, it's got to be hard to keep a straight face.
Yeah. So they pulled everything in, and it was fun seeing him in there.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
No physicality on the pin, though.
He ran right
running into the pole.
field goal post.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Kane get a little physical there, but I get
end up
it.
getting a little physical later in the evening.
Wanna get physical.
See, I knew that song. You probably didn't think I knew that,
I
did.
I trusted you, Kyle.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Let's move on here to Alexa and Nikki. We're talking about them again. They faced Sasha Banks and Bayley, and Alexa seemed to be, and I don't know if this was a work or actually was real, hurt most of the match.
Yeah. Like you say on the notes here, it was a showcase for Cross, and I think she's getting a good push. I'm behind her.
The crowd's behind her. I don't know if you listened to that the whole entire time she was going against Sasha and Bayley. Everybody was behind Cross, and that's usually the sign that, hey, this might work with Nikki Cross.
Right.
And I think pairing her with Alexa has done her pretty well. Yeah,
you get to see her more. She's not this ambiguous character. You know, she's tied to something. I think Ember Moon's in that area a little bit more now.
Absolutely.
Where what are you going to do with her? And I thought they pushed Ember Moon pretty well at the beginning, but Nikki Cross was in that same territory where she would pop in, you'd enjoy seeing her, and now pairing her with Alexa, she's much more of a presence.
Yeah, it gives her purpose, and that's good. Maybe eventually that will lead to Nikki doing her own thing, because she definitely got over in this tag team match. And then after the match happened, we would go backstage to see that Becky would end up challenging Sasha Banks to a match in Hell in a Cell.
That's a real shocker there, Kyle. I don't think any of us saw that one coming.
I think everybody in that at least has a decent wrestling brain saw this one coming.
Would have been more surprised if she didn't.
Why is that?
If she didn't challenge her, I would have been more surprised.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you didn't want that to happen.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, they did. I forgot. Jeez, as you know, Charlotte was in Hell in a Cell, and it might have been. It was with Sasha. They were the very first women to be put in a Hell in a Cell match. And now Sasha gets to do it again with Becky Lynch. Makes total sense with the way they've been, doing this storyline, especially at Clash of Champions. Put them in the cell. I kind of would have liked it maybe better if you would have thrown Charlotte and Bayley in there too.
Yeah.
Kind of just make it a fatal four-way, and just let them grieve it out in the cell. But at least we're getting Becky and Banks in the Hell in the Cell. That's going to be a very, very fun match to watch.
Yep. Sasha has cited her experience in the cell as a talking point or an advantage for her against Becky. I think Becky's so strong it's going to be a moot point.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
It's tough to keep up with Becky Lynch on the mic. And I think Sasha Banks can do it. And like you said, she has the experience in the cell, so she can use that in her, promo. So we'll see how this one goes. We got a couple more weeks to build it up, but definitely the match I'm probably second looking forward to the most, I would say, because we have a match we're going to talk about here, and it's not this exact one, but it was Seth Rollins versus Robert Roode. Solid match. Rollins gets the win, And then we would have a post-match beatdown, because that's always what happens nowadays. We get these post-match beatdowns on the babyface. And then the Demon Kane showed up. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He came to the rescue, the mayor.
Taking time off the clock, serving Knox County to show up and get his picture in a frame.
Yeah, get his picture in the frame because enter the Fiend.
Let me in.
So he closes Clash of Champions, opens, I guess you could say, Monday Night Raw, and closes it. The one thing I can give them credit is they are nailing the Fiend right now.
Well, even from the upside down graphics at the beginning,
was that intentional?
His theme song is playing behind it.
Yeah,
go back and listen. You can hear it, and then at the end, things got screwy with the graphics again. I think
the last minute was
they're putting the idea that the Fiend, this power, this being is being able to control everything. That's what I think. Because
he's like a puppeteer.
Renee was so intentional about bringing up the upside down graphics. Have these graphics been upside down the whole time?
What? Kind of
because if it was an accident, I feel like they would play right through it, and they wouldn't even be like, "Oh, God, Steve in the back screwed up. Get that guy
would be fired."
Right?
Yeah.
So they were so intentional with how they brought it up. I think the Fiend did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great way to end the show, and it's kind of like the passing of the torch because Kane used to be that dark, deep, big guy that would destroy people. And now he's passing that torch to the Fiend as he didn't get any offense on the Fiend. He basically just sold the Mandible Claw, and that was about it. So,
yep.
And then we ended the show with him staring down Rollins in the corner who looked petrified, which, once again, great booking for his character.
Yep, and it was nice because Rollins was beat up. So if Rollins had won the match and had no beatdown, I would expect them to go toe-to-toe and Rollins to be a little bit more defiant. But they did put him in a vulnerable spot, so he almost had to cower.
Backed into a corner, literally.
He had to. He was beat up. He wasn't in the shape to address the Fiend at that point, so it made sense. If he was in full health and cowered that way, I think it makes your Universal Champion look very weak.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. Overall thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week?
I was okay with it. The gender
that
reveal
seems to be a very common theme lately.
Fine. It was, there were, at the end it trended up, and I think they did the Fiend very well from bell to bell, start to finish.
Yes.
I was good with that. The gender reveal thing really got me going. It really grinded my gears.
And it seemed to bother a lot of people online, but there was some good spots on this show, but the bad seemed to outweigh the good here for me personally. I saw a lot. It seemed, and it's very weird, and usually I'm right on par with the people on Twitter. They really liked Raw. I didn't.
No, if we're given points here, I'm gonna.
Dude, I'm at like a 5 here.
Yeah, I'd push my chips towards SmackDown if we had to pick one or the other. Actually,
yeah, SmackDown got off to a hot start too. We had 6-man tag action. It's rare that you actually start with wrestling on like one of these episodes.
Yeah, bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, and it worked out. We had the New Day versus the FTRKO. And I got to say, there was one person in particular that I think shined this match.
Mr. Woods looked good.
He looked good. He was selling the knee, which we all know. I think he legitimately has a knee injury in real life, and I think they're trying to, give him time away. Did a great job selling. He showed offense against very, very viable contenders in the Revival. New Day gets the win in a very good match. It was a great way to start off the show, Tuck.
And it continues to build the intrigue with the Revival too, not making them look as strong as they could be as champions. So it makes you think that maybe they won't dominate for a ton of time, or maybe they'll continue to grow and get stronger. I like the Revival as a tag team.
I do too.
They work well together. You can't doubt that. But it was a good open to the show, and then
I was gonna say one more thing about that. I think that's basically the last you'll see of Randy Orton with the New Day and the whole.
Yeah,
the whole Kofi thing.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah, you can't. That's basically how you end that to open up something else. Did not see this one coming. Brock Lesnar's music hits. I honestly got goosebumps. And coming from me, I've been known to hate on Brock Lesnar. That's saying something, Doug.
Yeah, and it came out. Paul Heyman sold well, as always. Paul Heyman is magnetic and gripping, and I was fine with it. The way where they chose to put the match. Thoughts?
October 4th, which is the very first Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. And I think this is why I like it, because, A, we didn't know where Kofi was going to go next because he's done with Randy. B, how do you draw people into your very first show?
Yep.
You have a big match. What's bigger than Brock Lesnar to the casual person? If I'm not a WWE fan and I see on my screen Brock Lesnar, I know who Brock Lesnar is.
It's got to be someone like that. If it's not Brock Lesnar, it should have been Ronda Rousey, like that type of name.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not making any kind of rumor gossip about Ronda Rousey's status, but it has to be a name like that I know them.
Yes.
Brock Lesnar hasn't fought on a TV match in forever.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, not a free TV match. He just had that pay-per-view match with Seth Rollins and lost. And I got mad when Brock won the Money in the Bank, but after that, he actually felt like a viable part to every storyline. And I think this just makes so much sense. And I'm a huge fan of this, and this might surprise some people, but I want Brock Lesnar to win.
And now that they're not pushing Brock Lesnar as the Universal title, shoving him down our throats, there is more intrigue on my end as well to watch Kofi and Brock duke it out. I don't feel that Kofi is the favorite in this match.
Oh, no, absolutely not. When you look at any match and Brock Lesnar's in it, you're going to say Brock Lesnar is the favorite. And especially after this long of a reign, Kofi's time is up, I think. But then again, we said that last time.
Because here's we go on the next pot. Who's it going to be?
We're going to look like idiots. We just look like an anti-Kofi podcast, which we're not. We both like Kofi, but everything has its time.
Right. When we didn't start our podcast 6 months ago.
Very true.
It would have been hot. We would have been Kofi kids.
That was my favorite moment from WrestleMania this year, was Kofi winning the title.
100%. I would agree.
They have done a great job, like I said, but we got Brock Lesnar facing off against Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship on the very first SmackDown on Fox. And I'm Team Lesnar.
What's the history between AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar, real quick side note? Is there one?
They've had a couple they had a match at Survivor Series. It was champion versus champion. That's about it. Why do you ask?
I don't know.
Why, are you thinking about a potential match here or something?
I don't know. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I have no idea, but then, okay, so Brock wins the strap, then who? Is the kind of thing.
Roman Reigns?
Okay, right.
I know we've done it, and I know it's been seen, but can you give me a better name that would be a legitimate threat to Brock Lesnar?
Eric Rowan.
No.
I don't know. He had a good interview.
But he's kind of a heel, and so is Brock
I
Lesnar.
know.
But yeah, all right. I'll give you one name, and I actually think this could be a match.
Ali.
No.
Okay.
Aleister Black.
In. Yep.
What has he done lately?
Yep.
Nothing.
Right. He's renting out his black room to AOP.
AOP's had some good vignettes on these shows. That's another thing we didn't comment on. But on Raw and SmackDown, they did a little bit talking English and then their native tongue.
Yep.
I think they look pretty badass. I'm not going to lie.
Yep. I didn't turn it off or tune out mentally during it.
Did you ever see any of their work in NXT?
Yes. Strong.
Very strong boys. They could put on a good match.
Because I thought the name Authors of Pain was so cliche and bookish. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And yeah, they can wrestle. They're pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of AOP. And once they get back, then you get a legitimate team in the tag team title scene for sure. But we had Ali. He came out. He was supposed to face Nakamura. And he basically just gets the shit knocked out of him with a Kinshasa. Sami Zayn talks shit. That's it. That's it, Tuck.
A couple minutes of our lives we're never going to get back, Kyle.
I understand this is probably their way of rehashing this feud, because I know this is something they hinted towards in the past about Ali versus Nakamura, but that's how you do it, Tuck. You just have him go out there and no match happens. I mean, he's boom, done. See ya.
Yeah, okay.
There's so many other ways. Have Ali face some random heel and win. And then do a post-match beatdown, or vice versa. Have Nakamura squash a jobber. Have Ali come out to save the jobber.
There was nothing about Ali that looked strong here. A post-match beatdown after Ali has a great match makes Ali look strong, makes Nakamura feel more heelish.
Yes.
And then there's some build. Instead, It got swept and we turned the page.
Easily the worst segment on SmackDown. I'm actually pissed talking about it because that was so pointless there. But something that really wasn't pointless and it was intriguing is Kevin Owens. He bought a ticket. He was in the crowd. And he files for a termination suit on Shane McMahon for $25 million.
Shane, someone's here to see you.
You've been served.
Oh, and Kevin Owens is here too.
I like how he started and he was like high up in the stands. And then next commercial break, he's sitting front row.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed that. And then he lets him in the ring. And they had a good back and forth promo. Kevin Owens has consistently been one of the best promos in WWE. Makes me wonder, is this going to be another match at Hell in the Cell, which we saw last year in Hell in the Cell? I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Literally happened last year in Hell in the Cell.
Yeah. The cryptic KO NXT tweet is
Well, we don't know right now.
Right. We are right in the dark.
Well, I'm saying because we're recording this in the second hour of NXT is happening right now. Maybe Kevin Owens showed up. Breaking news. He just showed up. I don't know. But, yeah, Kevin Owens... So for right now, as we know, isn't in NXT, but I think they're starting to build up another match with Shane, which I don't hate, but I don't think we need to keep doing it.
And if Kevin Owens wins, he gets to fire. Shane is fired.
How can you fire a guy that's dad owns a company? That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
It's not believable.
Right. They're backing themselves into a corner. And we're delaying the KO to NXT thing another 3 weeks if that's the ultimate move.
Or we're delaying Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar. Boom. Drop the mic, even though I'm not going to do that. That just came into my head.
Well, it would take you a minute to drop the mic. You'd have to disconnect it. It would be tough.
I have done it before the show.
Yeah.
It was tough to put back in. But, Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar. Don't sleep on it.
Okay.
Now we're thinking. Now the
moving.
wheels are turning finally on the On the Mark Wrestling podcast here. Let's move on.
That was well done out of nowhere. That's nice.
Yeah, that's how I roll here. We got Charlotte versus Sasha, something we've seen before many of times. Solid match. Charlotte had the figure 4 in, and then Bayley gets involved because, of course, she was ringside because she's pals with Sasha Banks. We get the DQ finish. And guess who comes to the rescue, Duck?
Carmella?
What?
I didn't know she could still wrestle. I thought she was just a side piece now.
And if Carmella were to run in, I would think R-Truth would be there too or something. It'd be like a 24 title segment.
So where was R-Truth during this time? Carmella has abandoned him. Poor guy.
I wonder if
He's the father.
Oh. Now we're thinking. See, the ball is rolling here.
Golly.
No, but seriously, why Carmella?
I don't know. I'm waiting on you to tell me.
Like, I can't think of anything from the past why Carlette would... I just combined Carmella and
Carlette.
Charlotte, yeah. Yep. Why? That's their tag team name if they ever become a thing. Why Carmella came to the aid of Charlotte? Like, they have no positive history. If anything, they would hate each other. But I guess, hey, since we're kind of turning Charlotte face again,
we've got the Boston Hug. We need the
Carlette,
the Mella Flair,
Flair
money.
Ooh,
money.
Flair money. There it is.
Beer money, Flair money.
Yeah, shout out to Robert Roode there. But yeah, that just...
Side note, Offset, thoughts?
Honestly, I was taking a shit when Offset came out.
And so was Offset, apparently. There was no fire. And they gave him a pink one, pink robe.
Probably gave him a lot of money to do that. And
I know.
I think he butchered her name, too. I think he's like, the Queen, Flair. And he didn't say Charlotte.
All right, here we go.
The Queen Flair, everybody.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it happened. Once again, just building Sasha, Charlotte, Bayley, and Becky and all that good stuff. But we had the coronation of King Corbin after that.
Did we, though?
Kind of.
Yeah.
We got to see him in his, as you tweeted. What were you tweeting about his look? Possible ring gear?
Like, now I want to see him wrestle in the robe and crown.
Just go all out.
He's not afraid. He's not afraid
to
to wear whatever.
Right.
He's still stuck to the constable gimmick. So now he better. Let's go. I want to see the deep six in the furry robe.
Did you like the promo at all? I know it wasn't long. I mean, he basically just invited Gable out there.
I was okay with it.
I can never get behind Corbin in a promo. That's another thing I'm knocking him for.
His wrestling's getting better, but his promos
Wrestling's getting better.
Wow.
His finisher and signature are great, but the promo and the gimmick need some work.
I agree.
And they're obviously continuing this feud from the King of the Ring. It's a good way to make the King of the Ring important because if you have someone that's still mad about losing that match, it's something to fight over, I guess.
Yeah, because that's the question after the King of the Ring. What do you do? There was no stated incentive that he's going to get a title shot or anything just because he won the crown. So I think the Gable Corbin thing is good. I mean, it could set up a little series of pretty good matches. Yeah.
Yeah, and back in the day, it used to mean a lot. And it was like, if you won King of the Ring, you're the next big thing. I don't necessarily think they believe Corbin's the next big thing. I know they have high aspirations of him. Like, they obviously see something. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won this thing. But
right.
I don't know. We'll see what happens here. But obviously, that feud is not over with. So I'll give this King Corbin thing a chance, I guess. But King Corbin is like King Cranks. It's
Yeah, I agree.
Shout out to T-Walk, who's not listening right now because he doesn't watch wrestling. But let's move on to our boys, Heavy Machinery. Get it! We had them facing off against the B team. It wasn't I guess they are jobbers, but crowd getting really behind your boy Otis.
Otis lost the shoulder straps, and he is a lot. And I like it.
He didn't tweet at us this time.
I also didn't tweet at him. I had one.
Oh, you did.
I did?
You tagged Mandy in it, too, I
think.
think.
It did send.
Yeah.
Okay, because it was...
You didn't see that?
No, I was confused because it wasn't popping up on the feed. Okay. I shot my double shot there. Still waiting.
Maybe another time. But yeah, they, I wouldn't say they're doing the right things with Heavy Machinery, but they're not ruining them. They're keeping them relevant, I guess.
They're holding the rope right now, and that's fine. I will be wearing my blue collar solid shirt to one of the 5 shows we go to.
I think you got to do it on SmackDown because that's probably one of the only time they have a chance of being on TV.
I'm in.
To be completely honest with you,
I actually have a few middle schoolers that have listened to the podcast, and it's a problem because they're walking into my classroom yelling "Tucky."
Oh,
so
is it as good as me?
It's nowhere near as not. No one holds a candle. But now it's Mr. Tucky, okay?
Oh,
back up.
I kind of like that. Write that on the, what do you got, a dry erase board nowadays?
Yes.
Nobody has chalkboard. I was about to throw
Mr.
it back.
Tucky? Yeah.
Mr. Tucky! Final segment here. Daniel Bryan came out to basically address the whole Rowan situation. And then Rowan and Harper would start beating Daniel Bryan down, which I found very confusing because I look at it as Daniel Bryan's still a heel here, guys. And then Roman Reigns comes out. And they basically just start doing work on Roman Reigns while Daniel Bryan's just crawled in a corner.
Yeah, they did the Destructo set and blew everything up. And that poor security dude that got slammed onto the concrete. Yeah. Well, that was a bump.
He probably got paid $1,000 for that, though. So
I'd do it.
Yeah, I'd do it for the grand.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd
show the grandkids.
Hey, remember that one time I took that bump on the concrete?
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
They're going to remember that because Rowan and Harper were the ones.
And they have this infatuation with taking off that black panel above the LCD LED boards.
You got to do that.
And throwing it.
You got to do that because you got to expose it.
Yes, no doubt.
But I'm kind of curious, though. Are they trying to make this a 4-person feud? Is Daniel Bryan becoming a face again? What's going on here? The last time he was live, he was talking about how he doesn't lie, and he was kind of justifying his character, like his moral character, against Rowan. He hasn't done anything heelish lately, and then Roman Reigns felt inclined to come defend him. So what do you do with Rowan and Harper at this point? I don't know if I want a tag match, though. I don't think putting Roman and Daniel Bryan together does anything specifically for them. The only thing it's going to do is probably keep building up Rowan and Harper.
They have plenty of good tag teams.
Sure,
They might forget this, but I don't need Roman and Bryan. I don't need it.
I'm not saying it would be like a tag team, but like putting them in a pay-per-view tag team match.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Just to have a one-off with Rowan and Harper to put them over even more, but I don't know. Once again, I've been saying this a lot, sound like a broken record. I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan of the whole Roman, Harper, Bryan thing. I thought it was going to be more. I was expecting more out of this. I was expecting maybe Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Maybe that's still
in play, but it seems like they're on the same side now.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, okay, was this just for Rowan and Harper?
Yeah.
Which, if it is, make something out of it.
In the plane, we're kind of in a holding pattern right now.
Absolutely.
We're not landing the plane, and we're not going up in flames. We are in this kind of wait and see how things develop over the next couple of weeks as we head into Hell in a Cell.
And this is kind of the time period too where WWE kind of likes to. I don't think coast is the word for it, but just kind of I guess it is coast then.
Well,
I was going to say get by, but that's coasting.
What are we on the road to right now?
The next big, when you think of Big Four, you think of the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're on the road to Survivor Series, but they might have something at Hell in a Cell. I really don't know.
Because after Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series is the big one.
I can pretty much confirm that it is accurate because I know October is Hell in a Cell.
It's early October, late November, though. That's like a 6-week layoff between the two.
Yeah, maybe they have one
Was
of
there
those.
a Saudi show or something in between? Worlds
you might be
Collide?
right.
Or
I know they have on December 1st, they're doing another Starrcade, as I'm looking it up right now. Yes, they're. Guess what, Tuck? There's a Saudi show on Halloween. October 31st, Crown Jewel. So,
okay.
Is that going to be the 2-on-2 match at Crown Jewel? I don't know. These Saudi shows are so dumb. They're just glorified house shows.
Yeah.
And they're never good. Like, have you watched any of them?
Yeah.
Like Crown Jewel and
yeah,
all?
they don't. They're not impactful enough to move the needle on any of the stories. They're not changing straps. It's whatever.
There was one time, I think it started at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. our time. One of the shows, I want to say it was during the wintertime. Probably was the October one or whatever. I remember I woke up for that.
Probably felt pretty happy that you did, didn't you?
Got a cup of coffee and everything. I was like, I'm committed to this. I get 2 hours into this. I'm like, this is a complete and utter waste of my time. So I highly advise if you've never watched any of the Saudi shows, just skip it.
Yeah.
It's fine. We're not going to talk about it. We're not doing predictions for that, Tuck. I'm sorry.
Darn it.
Everybody's retaining. That's my prediction for the Crown Jewel show.
I concur.
Yeah, there's actually, if you wanted a Crown Jewel preview and prediction show, that's it. But overall this week, Raw versus SmackDown, who do you give the nod to?
I'm going to give it to SmackDown.
I'm going to agree with you.
The Fiend was great on Raw, but SmackDown total show, I give it to SmackDown.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what did we do? I know we didn't do it last week, but the week before that, did we give it to Raw or SmackDown?
We didn't, but I felt we might have been split or leaning towards SmackDown.
I do too. I do remember SmackDown. Okay, so yeah, SmackDown's on a hot streak, I guess.
4-2.
4-2 it is. And once AEW starts, we will start incorporating their weekly show into our discussion, into our vote, which we have breaking news, Tuck.
This is an On the Mark breaking news update.
AEW's weekly show will now be called AEW Dynamite.
Dynamite. Okay. Sure.
Is it like it's like Nitro kind of? Like
yeah.
WCW Nitro. They're like promo videos are explosive, so I guess the Dynamite makes sense, but feels very Nitro-like.
Dynamite. I feel like they're...
Like, can you hear me saying, oh yeah, I can't hang out, I'm going to go watch Dynamite?
Raw. SmackDown.
Yeah.
NXT. They're not... It's just NXT.
Dynamite.
And Dynamite.
I don't like it.
What is it? Is it a cartoon?
Thumbs down.
I agree.
But then again, what can you think? Can you think of anything right now off the top of your head?
AEW on TNT. TNT is Dynamite, the channel TNT.
Yeah, okay. Damn it. That actually kind of makes sense then.
It doesn't make it good.
Well, no, I'm not saying it's good, but I think that's what they're thinking.
TNT,
was.
Dynamite on TNT.
TNT. Was that good?
It was, yeah.
All right, thank you. So that was our breaking news.
Than I would have guessed your AC/DC impression.
My dad's favorite band's AC/DC, so that's probably why I have a decent impersonation of them, because I heard that all the time growing up. But today, as we were recording, was the very first time that NXT went live on the USA Network. Me and you actually watched it together, and the second hour was going on as we were recording, but we went over a little bit of the time. So it's already happened, but we got to see the first match ever on the USA Network for NXT was a fatal four-way to determine the number one contender for Shayna Baszler's NXT Women's Championship. We got Io Shirai, Mia Yim, Bianca Belair, and Candice LeRae. Going into it, you had Bianca Belair, right?
I did. Yep.
A lot of high spots in this one. It was very quick, very high pace.
Yep.
I enjoyed it. I think every wrestler besides Mia Yim shined here.
Yeah, I would agree.
What's your thoughts on Mia Yim? I know people know that I don't like her.
I don't know enough about her to like or dislike.
She's got a very corny character, and her wrestling's just okay. And when you watch that match, you're like, Io's cool. She's got something going for her. Bianca, the hair and the athleticism.
Right.
She's cool. Candace, very good all around. Candace ends up getting the win here, and she's going to face Shayna Baszler. Awesome way to kick it off, in my opinion, especially letting the women shine early.
Yep, it was a good match, action-packed for as long as they went, and I was happy with it, even though I picked Bianca Belair, but it's not like I'm attached to her. So
honestly, I did a live video, a little preview on our podcast Twitter before the show. I had Bianca Belair. That was my pick, too.
Yeah.
But then when I look at that, I'm like, all those other girls had their shot. Candace really hasn't had her shot at things, and she's a very good baby face, just like her husband is, Johnny Gargano, if you did not know that, which I think most of the people listening know. Good for Candace. So we'll see where this goes. They had a little standoff, and that was about it. And then when you were taking a dump at my place, we had Grimes end a match, and I had to get that on there because I smelt it when I walked in to take a piss. But that's all right. It happens. But he had a 4-second match. He gets the squash. It's stuck. We got to keep your composure.
I'm losing it.
But yeah, Grimes gets the win. Weird to put that on the very first NXT show, but hey, whatever. It led us to the last match on the USA Network because we know they had another hour. It was Roderick Strong versus the Velveteen Dream for the North American title. Thoughts on this one?
It was good for the most part, and until the clock dwindled, and then it became apparent how it was all going to end. But what was your main complaint from the match?
Oh, we got to go there. Well, first off, let me say I knew the Undisputed Era would end up getting involved in some way, shape, or form. I think everybody probably saw that coming. Ref takes a bump and whatnot, but the Velveteen Dream, he hits his signature. It's like a rolling, I forgot what it's called. It's like the Dream of Fire or something along those lines. He hits it once. Roderick Strong gets up right away.
Really quickly.
Right away. And this is
after a good and fiery, intense physical match.
Yes. And then the ref is starting to come back to life. Dream hits that same move again. Then the other people of the Undisputed Era distract him. Roderick Strong gets up probably 5 seconds after that move was hit.
Yeah.
Backbreaker and the match. Roderick Strong's the new champion, but my complaint is what happened to the Art of Selling?
Right. Because Velveteen was the champion, right? He earned this championship. So obviously his finisher has to be devastating.
That or his flying elbow that he does, which we didn't get to see.
And he just sprung up, not once, but twice. After the second one, you're like, he's got to be dead.
And I remember saying it to you the first time, and I was surprised that it happened again the second time. But, I mean, it was a solid match. You had Roderick Strong, who's a very strong mat wrestler, and he's very hard-hitting. And the Velveteen Dream tells a great story, and it was very good. That's the match you're going to see on NXT every single week. They put on that kind of quality every time. It was good, but for some reason, I was very disturbed by the selling in that. But overall, thoughts on Roddy holding the belt and all of the Undisputed Era now has it?
I'm fine with it because I want Undisputed Era to be a strong faction. I don't see it any other way at this point.
And it's a good thing to do it now when you're just starting off on the USA Network.
Because now they got 2 weeks and they could pop something.
Oh yeah, something big is going to happen in a couple weeks when AEW makes their debut on the TNT for Dynamite. So
maybe CM Punk was actually just backstage guiding the show, and then in 2 weeks he's
CM Punk rumors again.
All
That's
right.
all over Twitter. If you're posting about CM Punk rumors in 2019, still, that's all I gotta say about that. That's all I gotta say about that, really.
Okay, well, for Kyle Gagliardi, I am Jim Tucker. We will see you next week on The Mark Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On The Mark Podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod on the Mark.